15.3, let's go straight into it. 14-minute AMRAP, 7 muscle ups, 50 wall balls, 100 double unders. Now, some of you might be a little bummed about the muscle ups at the beginning, some of you are excited. If you don't have the muscle ups yet, maybe you do today. And if you're not going to be able to hit them, then there's always the scaled option to hit as well. Now, let's go straight in and talk about the warm-up. So similar warm-up as before, we kick it off with 7 to 10 minutes of monostructural activity just to get your aerobic systems going, get yourself hot and sweaty. Hit some intervals, 10 seconds on, 30 seconds off. This is not written in stone. Could it be 15, 45? Absolutely. Something that's going to get your heart rate a little bit higher and you have to push, but not so much that you end up in a fatigued state. 3 to 5 sets in that. You're going to prep the movement patterns. That can mean something like 27 squats, some animal movement patterns, maybe some flow sequences that you're going to do. Then we want you to take some small plates and do some full wrist circles to warm up your wrists. We don't want to see you spinning the elbow or the shoulder on the double unders. We want the movement to actually come from your wrist. Additional moves, you probably want to cover things like internal rotation of your shoulder. For the muscle ups, you want to work on your ankle and hips for the wall balls, and maybe you need some additional wrist work or forearm work for the double unders as well. We're going to film a video for that too. And then skill warm up. Okay, wall ball is a simple skill. You should still work on finding the optimal setup for yourself. How far away you want to be from the wall, we'll talk about that. Double unders. Okay, test all 3 ropes that you'll have for this. Yes, you don't want to have just one rope in case it breaks. Make sure that those wrists are well warmed up. It's a good idea to just do some singles, then a couple doubles, and work the rhythm, work your breathing, stay as relaxed as you can. And then muscle up, go through the skill progressions. Carl's posted some great skill progressions. We posted them in the past. This pattern of feet or toes, hips, and then on the arms or sitting through the rings. Very important to trust the kip in the workout. Drive that movement pattern in your warm-ups, even if you're a muscle-up ninja. And then just 3 sets, 3, 2, 1 muscle-up, 8, 5, 3 wall ball, 20, 15, 10 double unders. You get the point. We're not going to do excessive amount of work, but we do want you to practice the movements in the actual setting. If this is too many reps for you, do less reps, okay? But make sure you'll be ready, hot, sweaty before you go. Now, talking about the setup for the workout. Rings. Choose the right ring height for you so your feet are not clipping on the ground, so you can have a good kip, but you don't have to jump excessively high. Depending on whether you go with false grip or the pseudo false grip or the normal grip, you can obviously adjust the height. Choose also, if you have different sets of rings, choose the best straps that you want, you know, everything that goes to your favor with the ring selection. With the wall balls, very importantly, if you stand too close to the wall, not only it's going to be awkward to catch the ball, but you might also miss the target or hit the target and the ball is going to bounce up, which is going to make the movement slower. So stand a little further away from the wall. Try to hit a target at the apex of the throw so the ball comes immediately straight down. When you find that optimal distance from the wall for yourself, tape it down so you know where to put your toes each time, even when you're fatigued. It's going to pay off because wall balls are the biggest chunk in this whole workout, okay, in terms of time. Now, have multiple ropes, like I said, nothing worse than breaking your rope halfway through and not having a spare. I would have 2 spares if I'm really gunning for it, okay? Make sure they're all well maintained as well. Talking about the movements. Muscle ups first. No failed reps. Surprise, don't miss any muscle up reps. That's gonna cost you. And going to failure means you have to rest 15, 20, 30 seconds before you can try again. So it is still really costly to go there. Sub-maximal sets, whatever that means to you, maybe it's unbroken. We're going to talk about that. Toes, hips, and then arms or the sit-up through the rings. Just to give you the sequence, we want you to keep the arms nice and straight. Don't start to pull early and fatigue yourself, and trust the kip. When you get tired, your shoulders are smoked, your heart rate is high, it's easy to lose the mechanics. That's why we want you to do some skill warm-up here to drive home that good technique and trusting the kip throughout the whole workout. On the wall balls, we talked about this, don't stand too close to the wall. Stance, you could play with the narrow, normal, or wide stance. You can have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back if you have a little niggling knee. For example, take the stress off. We want you to play around with this and find the optimal setup for yourself. You don't need to limit the range of motion on the way down. You can go all the way down, hit that stretch reflex, come back up. Wider stance means the bottom comes earlier, but you're further away from the target. So you'll all find that there's going to be a setup that's going to be best for you. You have to play around with this. Elbows under the ball, but not so close that you cannot breathe. Obviously, you don't want to do the wall balls like this. And then the neck, do not crank your neck up when you receive the ball. 150 plus wall balls potentially is going to lead to a headache, okay? So you want to be far enough away from the wall so that you can catch with a neutral-ish head at least, so you don't get this whiplash each time. On the double unders, stay relaxed and breathe, okay? This is kind of where you get to recuperate, because you're going to be working hard on the wall balls, as long as you have good mechanics, of course. Little tips. Wrists below the elbows if you're still working on the double unders. Wrists come up too high, the rope gets shorter, so to speak. It's going to be hard to make the rep. Keep the elbows closed. The further you go, the more you're going to stress your shoulders, and they'll be taxed anyway. And then be patient. Well, let the rope come over your head before you jump. It's very easy to get frustrated if you miss some repetitions, lose your focus, and lose your patience. And then finally, wrists are doing the work, not your elbows or not your shoulders. On the double under, especially if you're still working on this, and these are some of your first ones in the open. Now, as we talk about breathing, obviously about pacing, breathing throughout, very key. Again, you want to control your heart rate as much as possible, stay calm, stay focused. Staying centered and calm is really going to help you when it starts to suck. When you get to that wall ball in the second set or the third set, it's going to be terrible. You will want to rest longer throughout this whole thing than you need to, and then you should. So using your breath as a way to count your rests, 2 breaths or 5 or 3, whatever you have to use to get back in. Then maybe if you think it's 5, try 4. If you think it's 3, try 2. Try to make those breaks shorter and shorter, especially on the wall ball and double unders. The muscle up, you might need to rest more just to make sure you hit your next set. And then throughout, you should have use sub-maximal sets, not going to failure in any one of the movements. It's better if you choose when you rest rather than your body chooses for you. Okay, so you stay under control. And a good place to go to is that breath if it starts to suck. It keeps you calm, centered, and allows you to continue to do work, gets the focus away from the suck to something that's productive. As we talk about pacing overall, there's a lot of different strategies. A lot of you guys will start maybe with the unbroken muscle ups in here. For the girls, this might look something like 4 plus 3. Even you might go 3, 2, 2 from the beginning. It's going to be the first round. Again, wall balls, you could go unbroken. You could go with a little negative split like 26, 24. You might hit 30, 20. Know yourself, okay? Sub-maximal sets, but get a big chunk of work done here. It's too easy to lose time in the rest between the sets. So minimum amount of sets, especially on the first round. Double unders, to be honest, I would probably break it to 50 and 50 at the beginning. Maybe even go something like 60, 40, or maybe it's gonna look like 40 plus 30 plus 30. But have a break in that, okay? You'll need it when you get to the muscle ups next. If you're a ninja in this and you're conditioning at the point, then you're just going to go unbroken, of course. But this is the way you probably will break it down just to catch your breath a little and be ready for the muscle ups. If you can hit about 4-minute split in here and you do 4, 4, 4, 4, that's going to be a decent set. Obviously, you're not going to finish this. You can go faster, but just the wall ball, it just takes some time. Okay, obviously the dream is to go past the 4th round in the end. Now, when you get the second set, unless you go unbroken, you're going to go 4 plus 3, maybe 3 plus 2 plus 2, or some of you might even do singles at that point. For the wall ball, you probably start to break it 3 to 4 sets, and I would just keep them negative splits. Okay, do more work first, then less work on the next sets. And here, try to keep these splits. It's too easy to start to lose time in the rest between the sets within the movement, and the transitions between the movements should be fast, but you can rest a little from double unders to wall ball each time. If you make it to the 4th round, you're probably just at that point just in survival mode and just push through. If you make it to the 5th one, good luck, let us know, okay? It's possible, but I'd like to see it. So a lot of this pacing strategy, I can't give you the specifics because it comes down to your capacity. Sub-maximal sets, being able to breathe, being able to recover is really the key in here, but this is going to be one of those where it's going to embrace the suck, go hard, or go home. Good luck.